What an amazing ministry, and I just love the creativity. GinaGleason, obviously we just saw her, heads up the Calvary Chapel Chino Hills Culture Impact Team. She is the Director of the Faith and Public Policy, which is the ministry there at Calvary Chapel in Chino Hills. Gina, thanks for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
It's really exciting, as we were talking about earlier, about how each and every one of these Culture Impact Teams takes on the creativity and the character of the church, and you guys really have impacted your community in a profound way.
I think so, and God gets glory for that. I mean, the creativity doesn't come from me. It comes from the Lord, and I'm constantly seeking Him on how to lead and how to guide this team and how to make a difference in our community.
And what's so exciting about this is that you, as you shared in the video, that your background is not a political science, right. You're not a student of the legislature, you weren't. You were just a mom who cared about your community. So I want you to speak to that, to those that are out there today, maybe for the first time hearing about Culture Impact Teams, and maybe their pastor has asked them to potentially lead. What would you say to them?
I'm sure there's plenty of people listening right now who felt or feel the same way I felt way back when I started. I'm just really concerned about the future that we're leaving our children. And I thought the church should play a role in speaking to these issues. So I did everything that I could to learn about what was happening, whether it's becoming familiar with what's going on in the state capitol or our school district, you name it. I just thought it was important for our community, our congregation, to know that there's a church that would speak to these issues.
Yeah, I just want to put people at ease. There are no fatal errors that you can make when you start one of these up. The only fatal error is not to do anything at all. You work through these things. It's with the resources available, as you made reference to. How would one go about getting started? As you did, just kind of walk them through that process of how they would start as they sit there today. Nothing in their church like this. How would they start?
Well, first, if you have that burden, preferably consider what that means and approach your pastor and ask him and tell him, explain to him what a culture impact team and what it does, and assure him that you are not there to beat anyone up or to be hostile, or that you would do this with a loving, humble attitude, but that you would want to address some of these issues that you're facing in the community, in the state. And I just think that a pastor nowadays, especially considering all that we have going on in our state and nation, they may be more open-minded to it. And once he gives you the okay, and then you have this responsibility of leading the team, and you think, okay, now what? That's the big deal. That's where Family Research Council comes in play, because you have the resources. You have the handbook, which is a great resource. Even to me, after all these years, it's still a great resource for us to learn about the first steps that a culture impact team should take.
Now, none of us like to go alone. It's always nice to have company when we do these things. How do you go about recruiting some other members of the congregation to join you in this effort?
Well, first talking to friends. And believe me, there are a lot of people within a congregation that feel the same way. So that's the beginning, maybe putting out an action alert, an announcement from the pulpit, something on the website, get the word out, establish a meeting, and let's see who shows up.
All right, in a few moments we're going to have another question and answer period. So I just want to remind you to go ahead and send in your questions, because we're getting now down to the very practical level, so that you can find out if you got questions about one aspect of this. We've got the experts right here. So email your questions, questions@frc.org, or you can tweet them FRCDC, @FRCDC. We've got another remarkable video of some people who were involved. But before we show that, I want to ask you one final question about this, and that is, as you've been doing this now for a number of years, I mean, you're a veteran at this, what would you say was the most rewarding aspect of your engagement?
There's been a lot of things, but I think that watching other ministries from other churches stepping up and influencing their community, I think that's been very rewarding to me. And you're going to show a video of one church that called me and asked me for help on getting started, and the result has been amazing. They've made a big difference in their community.
It's contagious.
It is.
Courage is contagious.
Amen.
When we begin to stand, others will take note and stand with us.